Hello, I'm Stephen Leake. I'm an elder at First Presbyterian Church in Mesquite, Texas, and I'm the teacher of the Discipleship Sunday School class there. Today we're continuing our study of the Gospel of John by examining in detail the second part of verse 14 of the first chapter. Now, I told you when this lesson started that the first 14 verses of the book of John are like a mini New Testament, and that we would be going through it one verse at a time and sometimes one word at a time. And this week lesson is a great example of that, because we're just going to talk about three words that are in this great verse, verse 14. I told you last week that this is my favorite verse in the whole Bible. And I think it may be the most important verse in the whole Bible. And as you'll see when we get started, I think Professor Barkley agrees with me. Professor Barkley says that in the introduction to this part of the lesson, it might be well that this is the greatest single verse in the New Testament. We must therefore spend much time upon it, so that we may enter more fully into its riches. We've already seen how John has certain words which dominate his thought and are the themes of his message. Here we have three more of those words: grace, truth, and glory. The first is grace, and it has two basic ideas in it. First, grace means something that is completely undeserved. It's something that we have never earned and something that we cannot achieve for ourselves. The fact that God came to earth to live and to die for mankind is not something which humanity deserved. It's an act of pure love on God's part. The word grace emphasizes our own helplessness and God's unlimited kindness. Second, grace also has the idea of beauty in it. In Greek, grace means charm. In Jesus, we see the loveliness of God. People had thought of God in terms of might and majesty and power and judgment. The Old Testament taught us about the power of God, which would crush all opposition and defeat rebellion. But in Jesus, we are confronted with the sheer loveliness of God. The second great word that John uses here is truth. This word is one of the dominant notes of the fourth gospel. We meet it again and again. Here we'll only briefly discuss what John says about Jesus and the truth. First, Jesus is the embodiment of truth. He himself said, "I am the truth," in one of those great metaphors he uses in the book of John. Therefore, to see the truth, we simply look at Jesus. Here is something infinitely precious for every mind and soul. It's difficult to grasp abstract ideas, so most of us think in pictures. We could think and argue forever, and we would very likely not agree on a definition of beauty. But if we can point at a beautiful person and say, "That is beauty," it becomes clear. Ever since human beings began to think about God, they've been trying to define just who and what he is. And their limited minds can't do that. But we can cease our speculations and look at Jesus Christ and say, this is what God is like. Jesus did not come to talk about God. He came to show people what God is like, so that the simplest mind might know him as intimately as the greatest philosophers. Second, Jesus is the communicator of truth. He told his disciples that if they continued with him, they would know the truth. And he told Pilate that his objective in coming into this world was to witness to the truth. People will flock to a teacher or preacher who can really give them guidance for the tangled business of thinking and living. Third, even when Jesus left this earth in the body, he left us his Spirit to guide us in the truth. His Spirit is the Spirit of truth. He did not just leave us a body of teaching. To this day, we can ask Jesus for help, and his Spirit is with us every step of the way. Fourth, the truth is what makes us free. There's that great verse, 8:32. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. There's a liberating quality in the truth. Children often get strange, mistaken notions about things when they think about them for themselves. But when they are told the truth, they are released from their fears. When we have fears of illness, we go to a physician. And even if the diagnosis is bad, at least we have been liberated from the vague fears which haunt our minds. Right now, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and people are getting tested for the COVID-19 virus. And it's astonishing to me that people won't go tested and know the results, because there's something freeing in know the results, when you know the results, and then you can plan for the future. The truth which Jesus brings liberates us from estrangement with God. Fifth, the truth can be resented. There were those who sought to kill Jesus because he told the truth. The truth may well condemn us, and it may show us how wrong we are. We may shut our ears and minds to the truth and condemn the person who tells the truth, but the truth remains. My namesake, the man who I was named for, St. Stephen, was killed because he told the truth. 6, the truth can be disbelieved. There are 2 reasons why people disbelieve. They may disbelieve it because it seems too good to be true, or they may disbelieve it because they are so fastened in their false notions that they will not let them go. 7, the truth is not something abstract. It's something which must be done. It's something which must be known with the mind, accepted with the heart, and acted out in our lives. That's a beautiful sentence, isn't it? Now that we have looked at the words grace and truth, let's continue with our study with the word glory. Again and again, John uses this word in connection with Jesus Christ. The life of Jesus Christ was a manifestation of his glory. When Christ performed the miracle of the water and wine at Cana of Galilee, John says that he manifested forth his glory. To look at Jesus and to experience his power and love was to experience glory. The glory which he manifests is the glory of God. It was not from human beings that he received glory. The glory that was Jesus, the glory that shone through him, that acted in him, is the glory of God. Yet that glory was uniquely Jesus' own. At the end, he prays that God will glorify him with the glory that he had before the world began. He transmitted his glory to the disciples. The glory which God gave to him, he gave to them. It is as if Jesus shared in the glory of God and the disciples shared in the glory of Jesus Christ. What does John mean by all of this? Well, the answer lies in the Old Testament. To the Jews, the idea of Shekinah was very dear. The Shekinah means that which dwells. It's the word used for the visible presence of God. Repeatedly in the Old Testament, we come across the idea that there were certain times when God's glory was visible to his people. In the desert, his glory appeared in a cloud. Before giving the Ten Commandments, his glory settled on Mount Sinai. When the tabernacle was completed, his glory filled it. The glory of God simply means the presence of God. Here, John uses a well-known illustration. A father gives his eldest son his own authority, his own honor. The heir apparent to the throne is invested with all the royal glory of his father. And so it was with Jesus. When he came to this earth, the splendor of God was visible in him, and at the heart of that splendor was love. In Jesus Christ, people saw that God's glory and God's love were one and the same thing. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to continue with the story about, or the meaning of the word grace, and study verses 15 through 17, where Jesus says, "From his fullness we've received grace upon grace." God bless and Merry Christmas.